We are at the end of Tikkun Oichlin, right? Preparation of food on Shabbos. Unfortunately, on Thursday we got through most of it. Actually, there was just a little bit left over here that needed to be gone through, which is interesting because it's not something that you would think was a big deal, but it's whether or not you can add salt to food. What's the problem
Shabbos?
on Shabbos? During the week, you have to speak with your doctor. I've got no idea, what your sodium levels are. But so here, not most foods you can add salt to, right? So, for example, you have to dip your salt into. I'll try that again. You have to dip your hamotzi into salt, your challah into salt, as opposed to dipping salt into your challah. You can add salt to various different foods. You add into your soup. You can add salt into your challah. You can add salt on your chicken, whatever you want. Right. The problem begins with vegetables.
Oh no! You mentioned vegetables.
I meant the edible kind.
That's why I said, "Oh no, I knew that."
Do you not eat vegetables?
I'm joking.
Potatoes are vegetables.
Oh, true.
Chips are vegetables. You only eat vegetables. Oh, that's right. You're a vegetarian. You don't seem to have any problem with, bringing the lives of cucumbers and tomatoes to an abrupt end.
I'm a follower of Rav Cook.
Oh yeah.
Oh, does he hold about vegetables?
He says that you can eat vegetables. That's
He
what
doesn't
he
think
says.
that we were meant
Eat
to eat
meat. Yeah.
But on Shabbos,
He would eat meat.
fish and
But
fowl.
the problem is when you eat vegetables,
But
there's
mammals,
bugs inside.
no. What?
You eat all these bugs,
Well, if it's kosher,
Rav Cook never ate meat.
He ate on Shabbat and Shabbos and Yom Tov. He ate here. You say he ate
Apparently
fowl. He ate
fish
chicken,
and fowl.
chicken and.
I mean, I don't know. He might have eaten beef, but
But only. It's interesting. There was somebody here many years ago who was a vegetarian.
You mean because he was a vegetarian, he's not anymore?
Why did they come here to get help?
So wait.
So they come here to get a bit of help?
Anyway, there was a fellow here who was he was a vegetarian. He was a vegetarian for humanitarian reasons. So I'm sure that's not the right word to use. Why
Animalistic reasons?
whatever. Yeah, he thought that it was cruel to kill animals. But it was interesting. After a while, he began to realize that maybe there was something to the idea, perhaps of he kept hearing. He became rather Hasidish, and he kept hearing this idea on Shabbos of the idea of elevating yourself through the physical on Shabbos, and the idea of eating meat on Shabbos. The idea that the Hasidim are very big on eating fish on Shabbos 3 times at the 3 different meals. So he came and asked me what I thought, and I told him, I said, you know what, you can make yourself a little compromise and just eat a little bit of meat on Shabbos and don't eat during the rest of the week and see how it goes. And he came back after a few months. He came back and he said that he actually feels that it enhances his Shabbos. The way that he approaches Shabbos is enhanced by the fact that he's eating a little bit of meat. He still doesn't eat meat during the week, but he has a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot. It's interesting. The Gemara says that Ein Simcha Yom Tov Ein Simcha Ela B'Basar V'Yayin, that the true simcha comes through eating meat and drinking wine, which means that there is something there. Whether a person eats meat or doesn't eat meat, that's their decision. We spoke about it a few weeks ago. We spoke about this idea. Yeah. If you're not eating meat because you feel that it's cruel to animals, so I don't think that's the correct approach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you can eat animals, so that means that it's okay, right? If you're not eating meat because you feel that, first of all, some people just don't like the idea of eating meat, or you feel that the world would be a better place, if you didn't have all these animals being treated in the way that they're being treated, then that for sure I think is a very valid, reason for not eating meat. We spoke about pâté de foie gras, goose livers that I think,
Make him drink scotch.
It's terrible what they do. Yeah.
I was just going to say, in my own experience, I sort of fall into that category. I consume meat on Shabbos and rarely during the week, unless there's something left over that has meat, then I'll eat it. But for the most part, I consume much more dairy during the week as a result, and I weigh less than when I got here. So
well, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Something has to be done about that. Do you eat fish during the week? Or you stay clear of fish as well?
No fish.
I hate fish.
On Shabbos, yes.
Yeah, but not during the week. I've got a brother who's a vegetarian. Completely vegetarian. Doesn't eat fish. Doesn't eat meat. Not on Shabbos either. Whatever. I mean, I'm very happy. If you don't want to eat meat, that's fine. Especially if you come around to my house, it means there's more for everyone else.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But the Jewish mothers,
Don't worry,
they're
I'm not
always like,
vegetarian.
You're not vegetarian. Oh, so maybe you shouldn't
You
come.
must leave my house.
So what's the deal with the fish? Why can't you mix fish in meat?
It's considered to be spiritually very dangerous. It's a source of what's called tsaras. Tsaras is spiritual leprosy. And it's something which we're very, very careful about, which means that not only should you not eat fish and meat together, but you shouldn't serve fish and meat together on the same dishes. You shouldn't even use, after you've had your fish, right, you shouldn't use the same plate to have your meat unless you've washed it in between.
Why do some people have like a l'chaim in between?
Because there is an Indian halacha. It says that you should clean out your mouth. So there are different ways of cleaning out your mouth. Your mother would probably like you to do it with a bar of soap, but that's not something that you can do on Shabbos. Tell you can't do it on Shabbos with a bar of soap.
Yeah, but she still did it to me when I was younger.
Wait, why can't you do it on Shabbos?
Because you can't take something solid and turn it into a liquid. You can use liquid soap to clean out your mouth with, but I do suggest either using a piece of challah or, if you prefer, something alcoholic. That normally seems to be a little bit more popular than soap. For some reason, I don't know.
No, actually, we don't even use that. You know, the liquid
quite
soap you
sobering.
can get. I used to open my mouth, which is good. Yeah.
Very good.
So without a bracha.
Soap without a bracha.
Or whiskey.
No, whiskey with a bracha. Oh no, if it's in the middle of the Suda, if it's the middle of the meal, then without a bracha. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Patrick. I must apologise. I thought you were being facetious,
Wait, they're
and I
different.
should have. We've known each other long enough, right? That the idea of you being facetious is inconceivable. It's only because I don't have electricity at home, so I'm a little discombobulated.
I have one more burning question.
Burning question.
It's burning. All right. So if you're not going to drink alcohol on Shabbos, and somebody's making kiddush, how do you fulfill the mitzvah of kiddush?
You don't have to drink from his kiddush at all.
Oh,
He can fulfill the. He can just say amen to the bracha. And he can fulfill your obligation by drinking. And the other alternative is to use grape juice.
No,
you can
I know,
use
but
non-alcoholic.
if the person doesn't, you don't.
Yeah,
want,
that's
you
okay.
don't want to be like,
I'm sure if you're a vegetarian, then you probably care very much about the grapes as well. So it's certainly not very humane to take grapes and squish them with dirty feet. That's for sure not.
If you don't have any
Can't you use
wine,
Chomer Medina for making kiddush?
Chomer on Shabbos morning, if you want. I mean, again, it's very complicated because you see people going to shul on Shabbos morning and making kiddush over schnapps, over whiskey or something. There are opinions in the halacha which that you need to make kiddush over a required amount, which means that you'd have to take not a little shot glass, but like a bigger cup, and drink roiv kois. Now I don't know, that's pretty wild if you ask me.
What if Chomer Medina is milk?
You know what? I'm trying to dredge through the dark recesses of my memory, but I have a funny feeling that Chomer Medina it doesn't talk about Chomer Medina when it talks about kiddush. It talks about
It's only for $1.
that's only for $50. It talks about what's the lashon in the, what's the
So
lashon?
you're better off making kiddush on the bread. If you don't.
You'd be
have wine
better
or
off
grape
making
juice,
kiddush. If you don't have any wine or any grape juice at all, you'd be better off making
Making
kiddush over the challah. Yeah.
Then
You recite kiddush, and instead of saying Baruch Piagef, you say Motzei Lechem Min Haaretz. Instead of having I mean, you can have an alcoholic drink during the meal if you want, but for making kiddush, you have to wash your hands, make Ana Talisha before kiddush, and then you recite kiddush in the regular way. But instead of saying Baruch Piagef, you would say Motzei Lechem Min Haaretz.
When do you actually eat it? You have another. Hold on, you say Hagefen, and then it comes another.
At the end, like a regular mamish, like a regular kiddush.
I once went to a family that had the weirdest minchag in the world.
Well, I can't imagine it was the weirdest one in the world.
They washed their hands, and then they did.
The yekkers. Yekkers.
So
Yekkers
weird.
do that.
So weird.
what? They do what?
They wash their hands before kiddush.
Right.
The yekkers.
Keeps everybody quiet.
Anyway,
That's what you
Huh?
think.
Where does the
the word yekke comes from it's German for jacket, it was originally it was not a very positive nickname. It was given by the Eastern European Jews wore long coats, long jackets.
What, the Yekkers?
Huh?
The Yekkers?
No, not the Yekkers. Eastern Europeans. The Middle Europe. So the Germans, they wore short jackets. German Jews, and they looked like they wore clothing like the rest of the like the non-Jewish community over there as well. So the what were known as the Ostjuden, which were the Jews in Eastern Europe, they called them Yekkers, like the jackets. It was not a very positive nickname. It really wasn't at the time. Now it's doesn't mean very much. Person's a Yekker. There's a Yekker. There's not very much you can do about it. Or I believe now you can go through some kind of surgical implants can be given in order to get the yeckiness out of you and turn you into something a little bit more flexible. Never mind. Anyway, what about salting vegetables? What do? What's the problem? The problem is like this. There is a problem with pickling on Shabbos.
Oh. Well, if you drink too much alcohol, you can pickle your brain and your liver.
Yeah, I never thought about that. What's the stuff that you drink that you have to take some salt first to get yourself thirsty enough to tequila. Right, you have to lick some salt first in order to get yourself thirsty enough to actually drink the stuff. I once asked one of my brothers. I'm not very keen on alcohol at all, actually. But I once asked one of my brothers, why do people drink tequila if it's so awful that you've got to take a lick of salt first to get it down you? Why do people do that? And he said because it is the fastest way to get drunk.
Yeah, my university is.
And there was somebody here. Oh, his name was Dan. Years and years and years ago, who'd been during his army service, during the Korean War, he'd been in Mexico. He'd been down, there's some enormous base, Air Force base, down towards the Mexican border. And they'd actually were in charge of rocket launching site in case there was going to be during the, the Cold War and the Hot War and the Medium War and everything, and the Korean War and the Vietnam War and the Civil War and everything. And he said that they had to man these things to make sure that just in case there was an attack that was going to come from Mexico. He said the problem was they were so close to the border that they went across the border all the time to buy. He said tequila was dirt cheap in Mexico. It was like, you got like a gallon for $1 or something. He said they were mostly. He said they were drunk. Most of the time they were drunk. He said they got so drunk once that they actually launched. They launched one of their missiles and it hit a cemetery. And he said that they had to try to avert a diplomatic incident. Can you imagine? He said there were bodies everywhere.
I think he might have been talking about Lackland. Lackland Air Base?
I don't remember. I just remember that it was an absolutely ridiculous story. But you should have seen his eyes light up when he started talking about the cheap tequila. It was quite something to watch. Anyway, so yeah, you can pickle your liver. I'm not sure whether you can pickle your brain. I don't think that drinking alcohol pickles your brain particularly.
No.
But there's a problem with pickling your cucumber on
Once
Shabbos.
Once you pickle a cucumber, you can't get a cucumber again. It's a pickle. You can't re-cucumber it.
I'm with you.
Thank you for just making that clear as can be. We do appreciate it. It's very good. Yeah, let's have a see. What's the Indian? The Indian is like this. It's also to pickle. It's also to salt vegetables that you would normally pickle. Right, so for example, cucumbers or onions, radishes. Pardon?
Lemon.
Tomatoes.
I don't know. That's a little bit of a.
Does it depend on the person, or does it depend on what can be
I
pickled?
think no. It doesn't depend on what can be pickled. I think it depends on what is normally pickled, which means there are certain here. So I don't think lemons count. Right, even though you can get pickled lemons, right? In England,
cabbage?
you can get cabbage counts for sure, right? But in England you can get pickled eggs, for goodness sakes, and you can get pickled walnuts as well. I don't think that's like a very particular. I was going to say a particular taste, but I'm not sure whether it could be described like that, to be honest.
Put salt on your cucumber.
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa. But Moshe, calm down. Calm down. Take it easy. I thought he was going to get up and walk out of here. You know? That's it. I'm not listening to this anymore. What's the problem? It's clear you're not pickling it. It's clear, right? Or you're just putting a little bit of salt on top of your cucumbers, right? In order to hard to taste. The problem is that it looks like pickling. Right, Mr. Brewer says.
Goes in a jar.
Huh?
And sugar, you have to put sugar in it.
No, you could put. I mean, you could just take a bowl and you can pickle things in a bowl. It just takes longer. That's sort of. It's closed up in a jar. It happens quicker.
So you can't eat pickled cucumbers.
You can eat pickled cucumbers on Shabbos without a problem. That have been pickled. You know, you buy them out of a can, right? Yeah. So that's not a problem.
So you can start the pickling process Erev Shabbos.
Yeah.
You can't start it Shabbos.
Oh, very good. Wow, you're in a roll right now, huh?
I know.
Gosh. If something's been added to the vegetables, like oil and vinegar. So, for example, some people you make a little dressing. You pour some oil over the cucumbers. You pour some vinegar over the cucumbers, and then you want to add some salt or something. That's okay, right? Because that's not that's going to minimize the effect of the salt. So it's okay to do that. It's when you just put salt by itself on vegetables that are normally pickled, then it becomes a problem. However, here, Moshe, you listening?
Yes.
This one is just for you. Okay? It's permitted to eat. It's permitted to add salt to the vegetables if you're going to eat them right away and you're not salting a lot of them, right? Which means you've got on your plate, like 5 bits of cucumber that you want to add a little bit of salt to because because your wife's not watching and your doctor told you not to use the stuff, right? So it's just that's okay. Right, it becomes a problem when you got a great big bowl of cucumbers and you're not going to eat them all, right? So at that point you can't salt them all. You can just salt whatever you need.
Preparing a salad.
Yeah.
For people.
Yeah.
She's going to add on salt or olive oil or whatever.
Yeah. So if she's adding oil, it's not a problem, and then she can add the salt as well. That's not a problem either because the oil is going to detract from the power of the salt. Right, to do its pickling job. However, if she's only adding salt onto something, so if there's a lot of people that are coming, right, and there's a chance that it will all get eaten, then that's okay, so long as it's being done straight away, right, which means that it's being salted and then it's being put down on the table and it's going to be used. If see, I don't know, if you left over on purpose, then it's a problem, right? If there happens to be left over and you want to have it, then, Friday night and Shabbos morning you want to have it, then I think that's okay, right? But the important thing over here right now is that when you come to put it out, it needs to be put out almost as soon after you've salted it. Rather, you can't hang around, which means your wife can't salt it, light the Shabbos candles and then salt the salad and then wait a couple of hours till you come back from shul with your guests. But rather, she's got to do it just before it goes out onto the table.
If you're a guest and you're in that same situation and you're aware that there was some time passing between when the salad was salted and when it's going to be served, or when you know that it's simply too much to consume for that first meal, for example, and you're the guest, would you be able to say, okay, I'm a guest, and this is what the host or hostess is serving, and so I can overlook that? Or are you obligated to resist or turn down the salad?
Oh. You gotta eat the salad, man. You can't let the wife, you can't let the host.
You're embarrassing the host.
Yeah.
No, the host doesn't need to know. You can just say you don't eat salad. I mean, that you can get around. You can sidestep that easily.
The Shabbos
yeah.
before, or 2 Shabbos before.
The last Shabbos, he said, "I love salad."
Yeah, but that was.
She made the salad especially for.
That was last week.
One of the quick answers is I don't eat salad, but let's say you're happy.
I think it's probably okay actually. Yeah. Even though she's done something or he's done something that he shouldn't have done, it's not you didn't do it. And I think it's okay for you to eat the whatever it is.
First of all, a lot of the times you don't even see what the wife is cooking. It's brought to the table ready. So you cannot see what they did.
That's true. I mean, the minute, listen, the minute you've got,
Yes.
Patrick, the minute you've got something else in that salad, oil, vinegar of some kind, what I don't know,
Thousand Island.
whatever, yeah, Thousand Island dressing, whatever it is, right? Then it's not a problem anymore. So it's fine. My father, I love Shalom, he used to say like this, that the first time he went after he got engaged, so he got invited round to my grandparents for dinner. So he came by, and I don't know what my grandmother made, but it was something that my father didn't like. But seeing as how he was a brand new chassan, and had just easing his way into the family, so he told my grandmother how delicious it was. And he said for years afterwards, whenever he came, that's what he got. He said everybody else got something else, right?
Oh, boy.
But she would make this especially for him. You just reminded me, last week you ate the salad and you said you love salad, right? And then now you're stuck with eating salad again this week and the week after. There is no problem whatsoever with adding salt to vegetables that are not normally pickled.
So how do you let down a Jewish host mother easy? Like, I don't really like this. How do you say that without offending her, embarrassing her?
You don't. It won't work.
Spit it out in front of her.
No, it won't work. It won't work. I'm telling you, it won't work.
I'll try it on Friday night. Let me take it.
You just have to swallow and see what happens.
I was at a house once. This woman made, because she knew I was a vegetarian, so she especially made me this fish. She served it to me. It was, cold, and it was, chewy. I just couldn't, and it was just
Wait, if you eat fish, then you're not a vegetarian.
I was on Shabbos.
Oh, on Shabbos you eat fish?
Yeah.
Big mistake.
So I was, eating it, and it was all chewy and disgusting. I couldn't eat the other one, and I kind of, cut it up. It made it look like I was going to eat it, but, then I was awful.
Yeah. When I was a kid, Tuesday nights were diabolical when I was a child, because my mother, there used to be a set menu. So every Sunday was the same, every Monday was the same, right? And different food, but every week it was the same thing. Tuesday was boiled halibut, right? White fish boiled with peas and carrots. Don't tell me it's not. You're right, it's not bad. It's diabolical.
What was the best night then?
I cannot remember what the best night was. I just remember what the worst night was. And I used to, as a kid, I mean, I until today, I don't eat very much fish at all. And certainly not boiled white fish. I don't do that. I don't do boiled white fish. And I'm every Tuesday night I'd be pushing this thing around my plate, trying to, if I hide it behind the peas, then maybe they won't see it, but then they'll make me eat the peas and they'll see the fish. So if I hide the peas behind the fish, then maybe, all kinds of cheshbonos that were going on. And I don't know what, my parents would tell me that there are starving children in Africa.
Yeah.
Eat your fish, there are starving children in Africa. And I would tell them, I don't understand, so let's put it in an envelope. Let's send it to Africa, for sure. And it was funny, only, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I asked my mother, why did you say that? What is my eating this fish going to stop the children in Africa from starving? Where's the logic over here? So you know what she said? She said, did I really say that? How odd. So anyway, I empathise with you entirely, being stuck with a piece of fish that you don't know what to do with it. I really do. I'm sure.
I still have nightmares about it.
Well, it's good because it was this Shabbat, so that's great. And it's Sunday today, so...
No, it wasn't this Shabbat.
Oh, no?
It was
Okay.
a few months ago.
Anyway, listen, you can add salt to vegetables that aren't normally pickled. So, for example, tomatoes, peppers, and things like that, it's okay to pickle them. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, interestingly enough, points out that some people do pickle tomatoes, but he says they pickle tomatoes whole, which means if you've got slices of tomatoes and you're going to put salt on them, he says that's okay, that's no problem whatsoever, and it doesn't look like you're pickling whatever it is.
Oh.
Huh? Yes, look at this. Okay, what about if you've got a salad? Oh, you know what? Here, Patrick, maybe this is going to take care of the problem altogether. You've got a salad with all different kinds of vegetables inside of them, including things that are not supposed to be pickled, like cucumbers, right? So long as the majority of the salad is made up of things that are not normally pickled, then it's okay. Right? It's okay to eat the salad. It's okay to prepare the salad and to pour salt over it. There's no problem whatsoever. So, for example, if you've got a salad that's comprised of, lettuce and cucumbers and tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of things like that, and then it's no problem whatsoever in pouring salt over it in order to be able to eat it if that's the way that you like your salad. If you've got a salad where the majority of the salad is, sometimes people like to eat cucumbers and onions, right? So that would be a problem because both of them are a problem to add salt to by themselves. There's a sort of like an Ashkenazi delicacy of salt. I'll try again. Of cucumbers and onions that have been soaked in vinegar, and they've got they're actually it's pretty good. It's pretty.
It's served with herring a lot of times, isn't it? The cucumbers and onion in vinegar.
What if you have some herring?
I don't eat herring. What?
What if you eat some herring?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that to yourself?
It's great. It's delicious.
Because the chillin was so hot that it burned your taste buds. No, I'm just kidding.
And again, no, Hamal, it's just important to stress if your salad has got regular dressing inside of it, so you don't have to worry about it, right? Which means that it's got whatever oil, vinegar, all that kind of stuff. Then you can add salt. That's no problem whatsoever. Even if you've got you've just got a cucumber salad with nothing else, and it's been soaking in whatever it is, and it's got some dressing all over it. Okay, it's permitted to add salt to eggs, meat, and other foods that are going to be eaten right at the meal that's being eaten now, which means that you've got a plate in front of you and you want to add some salt, you want to enhance the flavor a little bit from what you've just been given. There's no problem with salting it right there and then whilst it's in front of you. It's better not to add salt to food that's only going to be eaten later on, right? So you get given, there's meat, and you know that the meat is going to be lacking a little bit of salt, so you want to put the salt on it, and then you're only going to eat it, in an hour's time or something. So it's better not to do that at all, and you should either put the salt immediately before you're going to eat it, or don't put it on at all. You should not, that the Shulchan Aruch says that you should not prepare large amounts of salt water on Shabbos, right? Because that looks like it's going to be used for pickling, even though it's not. Right? You're preparing it for something else. Nevertheless, it's...
You have salt water?
You take water and you add salt. Oh, why would you do that?
Yeah. Pesach, I can understand. But say that, but...
What if it's Shabbos that falls on Pesach?
Maybe that's what we're talking about.
Does that happen a lot?
I mean, it happens. It happens reasonably frequently, yeah.
Pasta, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah.
Pardon?
Pasta, noodles. A lot of times, salt the water.
But you're not going to cook it on Shabbos, though.
Right.
Why are you preparing salt water? I don't know. The Shulchan Aruch says not to prepare large amounts of it.
I don't know. I can't
right?
move on.
However, hold on a second. Oh, you know what? For dipping. In the olden days, they didn't have ketchup. Don't look at me like that. In the olden days, they didn't have ketchup.
Yeah, but it was like vinegars, malt, and
no, so people didn't like vinegar. Yeah, until today, you go to the supermarket, you have two different kinds of pickled cucumbers, right? In vinegar or in brine. Brine is just salt water. That's what it is. So maybe people would put out salt water for people to dip certain foods into to enhance the taste. If that's the case, that the halacha is that on Shabbos you should not prepare large amounts. It's okay to prepare smaller amounts and put it out. That's not a problem.
Because you dip
right?
your cucumber in it and then it falls in. You're screwed.
That's it. You're done. You're finished. It's terrible, right?
Is it Ganeda? What is it?
And if so just one last thing, even though I know this is not really halacha l'maaseh because most people don't do these things anymore, but if there is a large amount of salt in ratio to the water, in halacha it talks about 2/3 and 1/3, 2/3 worth of salt and 1/3 worth of water, then at that point you shouldn't use it at all on Shabbos. That's a problem to prepare on Shabbos. Come what may, it doesn't matter for how much. Okay, so that's taking care of the preparation of food for Shabbos.
What's next?
I'm not quite sure. I need to take a look and see what we can talk about. We're going to finish up Shabbos this week, come what may. because next week we've got to start looking at the halachas of Hanukkah, because Hanukkah is waiting in the aisles, waiting.
I don't know if this is off subject or not. Maybe I should wait until after you.
It's fine, really.
Okay.
I don't think we were on subject to begin with, were we?
Okay. So I heard this interesting story over Shabbos about what's happening, like in the time period since Rosh Hashanah and Hanukkah. That now is kind of like a time that. That there are things happening spiritually that could be likened to a seed that is put
interesting,
in the ground.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the things that are happening now being kind of like what's happening to that outer shell.
Yeah.
You know, before
That's very
it can even open.
that's very big in the Kabbalistic works and by the Hasidim, in the Hasidic Sfarim. That concept is very big, actually. The idea of planting something and then the outer part has to disintegrate in order to allow the piece in the middle to begin to grow in the way that it needs to grow. And it's Rosh Hashanah, between Rosh Hashanah and Hanukkah, is described by the Sfas Emes anyway. I guess in our language, it would be like an incubation process. It begins in Rosh Hashanah, and by Hanukkah, everything is beginning to do what it's supposed to do. And everything that we're going through right now, in this particular period, it's all very intense and very, very disturbing. But in Mitzvah Hashem, we hope that, that it will bring with it light and it will bring with it some clarity. That's what we hope. Mitzvah Hashem. But we'll talk in Mitzvah Hashem. Next week we'll talk about Hanukkah and halachas of Hanukkah. Huh?
You want to have a practical on donut?
Yeah, sure. We can bring in a donut and we can put a wick in it and set it on
Oh,
fire and see. You'll see it.
How
It
about
lasts for
some
8 days.
latkes?
There's no doubt about
Can
it.
you bring some latkes?